Hi students, today we are going to study Virginia Woolf's The Russian Point of View. I am sharing here the image of Virginia Woolf. This is the image of Virginia Woolf, and this is the cover page of A Room of One's Own, Virginia Woolf's famous novel. And I have given a brief biographical description on Virginia Woolf here. Virginia Woolf is a great and original essayist, but her fame as a novelist has obscured her greatness as an essayist. Essay writing was forced upon her by the desperate need of money, and it freed her from financial worries and enabled her to devote the rest of her time to novel writing, which would not have been possible otherwise. The bulk of Woolf's essays is large, but she could organize only 2 volumes of her essays, and those 2 essays were published as the Common Reader first series, which was published in the year 1925, and the Common Reader second series, which was again published in the year 1932. Mrs. Woolf has left behind her 5 volumes of essays, but her fame as an essayist and literary critic rests entirely on the 2-volume entitled The Common Reader 1 and 2. The popularity and fame of The Common Reader was immediate, and it has also been enduring. There are various factors, and some of them are the various factors for the popularity of this Common Reader. So I have listed 5 here. There are many reasons, but I have just listed a few of them here. First reason is her essays. The essays in the volume are characterized by immense variety. Second, the treatment is characterized by ease, simplicity, and clarity. She has a remarkable genius for the simplification of complexities. The third reason is her essays in the book have a uniquely human flavor. And the next point is her point of view, her method, her reactions are refreshingly fresh and startling. And the last point, the popularity of the book results from the inimitable style of Woolf. The wit and charm of her style, and that actually fascinates the reader. And moving into the essay now, The Russian Point of View by Virginia Woolf. And this essay, The Russian Point of View, is actually the 15th essay in the Common Reader first series, which was published in the year 1925. Woolf has made an in-depth study of the influence of the Russian writers on the English counterparts in this essay. That is why it is titled The Russian Point of View. And she has analyzed enthusiasm of English writers for Russian literature. And she says the English have been profoundly influenced by the Russians despite differences in literary and cultural backgrounds and the difficulties of language. If you see, in recent years, there has been a great enthusiasm in England for Russian literature, and particularly for great Russian novelists like Chekhov, Dostoevsky, and Tolstoy. So the English writers have been profoundly influenced by the Russians despite differences in literary and cultural backgrounds and the difficulties of language. This is because the Russian literature is known for its simplicity and humanity. So the simplicity and humanity of Russian writers charm and charm the English writers. So these are the qualities which envelop the works of the great Russian writers as well as of the lesser ones. Russian writers' message is that we must identify ourselves with the people and sympathize with their suffering, and further that this sympathy must not be with the mind, for that is quite easy, but with the heart. And when the English writers, they try to imitate the Russian writers, what happens? The English writers try to write with simplicity and humanity. The result is often disastrous. The English writers, they become self-conscious, and the result is an affectation of simplicity and goodness which is extremely obnoxious. And she has listed 3 writers here. Let us see one by one now. First one is Chekhov. So Chekhov, its deep sadness is typical of the Russian people and their literature. So this is to be borne in mind when the English study Russian literature. So as we read Chekhov's stories, we are bewildered by the fact that his stories are inconclusive, that people merely talk and nothing happens. There is no action, no love interest, and no thrills and sensations as in the English short stories or in English novels. And we are bewildered and confused, for we fail to understand as to what exactly the writer is trying to convey, and what does he really mean by the pointless talk which makes up the story. So readers are really confused. And if you see, Chekhov's stories are inconclusive, and it is as if a tune has stopped suddenly without a proper finale. Or we English writers or readers, we sometimes criticize Chekhov's stories according to the Victorian literary conventions. But Chekhov's stories are not conventional, and the conventional canons of criticisms do not apply to them. They are stories of a different type. They end on a note of interrogation, or with people continuing to talk up to the very end. A talk which seems pointless to the uninitiated. And the chief interest of Chekhov's stories is psychological. Like many English writers of the present age, Chekhov too is aware of the fact of social injustice and social oppression, but the zeal of the reformer is not his. He is a most subtle and a delicate analyst of human relations. He too is interested in the relation of one soul with another, but that was not his primary concern. He says that the soul is ill. To him, soul is ill and the soul is cured. The soul is not cured. There are the emphatic points in his stories. And if you see his originality, we will be impressed. So most of the times when we read his work, we are impressed by the originality of Chekhov's method, which at first seem to be very bewildering, confusing and pointless. We are impressed by his integrity and honesty. There may be no answer to the questions he poses, but the truth is stated, and there is no manipulation as in the traditional fiction, traditional English fiction, for example. So he is popular, or his works are popular. And next we are moving on to the next writer, illustrated by Virginia Woolf, Dostoevsky. So in Chekhov, if you see, and other Russian writers, the word soul is constantly repeated. Indeed, it is the soul which is the chief character in Russian fiction. Delicate and subtle, the soul is, if you see, is delicate and subtle in Chekhov, subject to an infinite number of humorous and distempers. It is, the soul is of greater depth and volume in Dostoevsky gives importance to the soul. It is liable to violent diseases. So the soul is alien to the English writer. It is even antipathetic. It has a little sense of humor and no sense of comedy. It is formless. We all know that the soul is formless. It has a slight connection with the intellect. And it is confused, diffuse, tumultuous, incapable of submitting to the control of logic or the discipline of poetry. Dostoevsky usually begins her stories with a number of people drawn from different strata of society and talking at the top of their voices about their private affairs. And no explanations are provided, and it is all so confusing and meaningless. But gradually confusions they melt away and things are seen in a clearer light. We feel that they are all unhappy, tortured souls who gradually reveal themselves in their talk. And as we listen to the characters' conversation, we have moments of vision, and we understand more than we have ever understood before. And we begin to pick up the threads of the story and physical facts like the names of the characters and the place where they are talking. But all these are unimportant as compared with the soul. And we move with agonizing swiftness through the soul storms of the various characters, sometimes rising into shrieks of laughter and other times hurled into the depths of the most violent sobbing. And a new panorama of the human mind is revealed to us. So there is none of that precise division between good and bad to which we are used. Even in real life, we have never seen persons completely good or bad. So often those for whom we feel most fiction, or the sometimes if you see, there will be the most dangerous criminals, and the most abject sinners sometimes move us to the strongest admiration. And I stop here. Meet you next.